Did you know, wait for this one, that there's a lot of pressure, a lot of intense, consistent, persistent pressure in certain quarters for a handshake to happen between the government and Raila Odinga? Did you know that? Now I know this is the last thing that supporters of Azimio want. Because what supporters of Azimio want is justice. Nothing less. Justice. Only justice. Hakuna handshake. But the truth is, the facts on the ground, what is unfolding in backrooms is that there's pressure for a handshake. And by handshake I mean a situation where the government can work with Raila Odinga, because the president has made it very clear that the handshake of March 2018 was fraud to the Kenyan people, is unacceptable. He would never go into such an arrangement. Okay? However, what I'm talking about is a handshake so that people can work together. There's a lot of pressure for that. And of course the reasons are obvious as far as the government is concerned. Now, one of the reasons for this pressure is something very sensitive, contained in my latest weekly intelligence briefings, number 90, which is due to be released in a few hours. If nothing else convinces you, then the crazy information in WIB number 90 will convince you fully that there has to be pressure for a handshake, for a kind of working arrangement between the government and Raila Odinga. Now, if you're not yet a subscriber, there's my special offer, which is backed by public demand, but only for very few hours, 72 hours max, and then it'll be gone, because that offer is too good. For only Kenya shillings 850, you can be a member for 6 months. It means also you'll get all the back issues. I believe you can see all the information on your screens right now. Now when you get the back issues, it means you have all the WIBs. Although you've only taken 6 months membership. Or for 1850 Kenya shillings, 1,850, you can become, wait for this one, a life member. Never have to worry again about subscription. This is quite a steal. It is an offer and a half, and then some. So take full advantage of it and get this WIB with this crazy information that I'm very sorry I can't discuss here. But let's discuss what we can discuss here. There is pressure for that handshake, which is the last thing Azimio supporters want. Karibu sana to my show. Quite a show, can assure you, because the information contained here, karibu sana. Now, if you're already enjoying my video, please remember to give me a like. That'll help me, and I'll be so grateful. But for now, twende kazi. There is a Kenyan political analyst who has suggested in a recent video that, wait for this one, there are signs to suggest that there is a handshake loading. A handshake, of course, between President William Samoei Ruto and Azimio leader Raila Amolo Odinga. Now, just hold your horses for a minute. I know how Azimio supporters feel. I am very much aware of how handlers close to Raila Odinga feel about even the suggestion of such a thing. They don't want. Hatutaki handshake. However, I have discovered something super fascinating, and indeed something very scary that is unfolding behind the scenes in the background that is linked to this. And I'm talking about something that could force, notice my choice of words, something that could force a handshake, even against the wishes and the feelings of a vast majority of Kenyans. You know, you always hear that politics is a very dirty game. But many of us do not understand just how filthy and dirty politics can be. Because you see, politics involves power. And power is something that many people will do anything to get and to retain. Not all people, some people. Now I have to go slowly so that we all fully get and understand what we're talking about here and this information I'm about to release. And we have to go patiently, step by step, until we reach our destination and we reach that aha moment when we fully get it and we understand what the situation is. Because in my opinion, there is no handshake which is going to happen. No. However, there is pressure for a handshake to happen. Okay? And when there's pressure, anything can happen. But in my view, I don't think that handshake will happen. So let's get down to it. And for starters, we have to understand what is going on between the current Ruto government and retired President Uhuru Kenyatta. That's where we must start. Now, all indications, all clues, all telltale signs, all evidence tells us very clearly that the beef between the former president, the immediate former president, and the current president is not over. It is not over. It is still ongoing. I mean, we've had even people like Rigiji, the deputy president, instead of telling us about UDA policy, Kenya Kwanza government policy, he can't resist talking about Uhuru Kenyatta this, Uhuru Kenyatta that, former president this. We found the coffers empty. It's because of the former president. The former president must take responsibility, etc., etc. Kenyans have heard all that. And there is a very scary plan which is already in the works. And clearly people are very serious. Yeah, that is targeted at the former president. Okay, let's be very clear on that. Now, this is a very sensitive issue. It is in my latest weekly intelligence briefings number 90, which will be released in a few hours. Yeah, it gives you full details and the clues, telltale signs, evidence pointing to what I say in that particular highly sensitive weekly intelligence briefings number 90. I believe you can see details on your screens right now. Please take advantage of my latest offer. Go for it. Now, the next thing in this jigsaw puzzle we need to understand is the fact that the friendship between retired President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga is intact. They're still very close. They still talk regularly, on a regular basis. They're still very tight. And let us not forget that in the Azimio setup, Yeah, it has both Uhuru Kenyatta as the leader and Raila Amolo Odinga. Let's not forget that. Sasa hizo vitu mbili si umeshika? Aya, tuendelee. Now, President William Samoei Ruto is under intense pressure. He knows very well that he currently has the problem of legitimacy, which came out very clearly with the turnout at the Uhuru Gardens in the recent celebrations, Mashujaa Day celebrations. And there are so many other small tiny things that have happened, yeah, that suggest that President Ruto is in exactly the same situation that President Uhuru Kenyatta was in after the 2017 presidential elections, hotly contested presidential elections. But in my view, President Ruto is in deeper, yeah, because the circumstances are a bit different. Yeah, he needs a handshake much more desperately. Now, those who have been following Kenyan politics will know that recently the president seems to have relaxed his view about working with Raila Odinga. He has of course been very clear. He's not looking for handshake. He's not looking for any handshake arrangement. He says the handshake was fraud against the Kenyan people. The 2018 handshake, March 2018. However, he has relaxed his views on working with Raila. In fact, he has said he is ready to work with Raila Odinga. Now, if you didn't catch that in the news, trust me, the president has said that. Now, you can say many things about President Ruto. You can think many things about him. But one thing that is a fact is that the president is a very smart, cunning individual. Yeah, there's not much he misses. Let's accept that. And the truth is, the survival of the Ruto administration, yeah, will be secured by somehow finding a working relationship with Raila Amolo Odinga. And of course we know that Raila is not prepared for handshake with Ruto. He has plans of his own. Yeah, I've covered that in other videos which are on this channel. Now let's take a hypothetical situation. President Ruto wants some kind of working arrangement with Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga is reluctant. How do you persuade, in quotes, Raila to change his mind? Well, one way you can do that is to suggest to Raila Odinga that when we work closely, when you're within government, you will be able to protect people who are close to you. You will be able to assist people who are close to you. You will be able to avert disaster that is heading in the direction of people who are close to you. Umepata hiyo pia? I'm sure you have. Point number one is in the process. In fact, it's moving at lightning speed. And it reaches a situation whereby the current government wants to hold some certain people accountable. To get my meaning. And they're not doing this in a jokali way. They're doing this very methodically, very intelligently, and they're using evidence, yeah, to be able to do what they want to do. And so that is what is unfolding on one side of the government. On the other side, there's still a kind of negotiation, feelers being sent out to Raila Odinga. Let's sit down and talk. Are we together up to there? And so, it reaches a situation whereby Raila Odinga in order to protect a certain friend, in order to prevent, to stop what is being planned against a certain close friend of his, has to reconsider working with his government. Because if he works with his government, he can stop what is being planned against his friend. I'm sure you get it. It would seem that that may not be very far from what is happening in the backrooms of Kenyan politics. Bottom line, there seems to be a lot of pressure on Raila Odinga to consider working with the government of William Samoei Ruto. Now, we all know that politics is very fluid. If, for instance, Raila Odinga's plans move with speed, they will keep the government under pressure. They will keep the government in so much pressure that they may not be able to speed up their plan against somebody. Are you getting my drift? And therefore, in that case, which most Azimio supporters would favor, then it would mean that the actions against that other Kenyan will not be able to be speeded up at the right speed. They may even slow down. They may even come to a stop. Because pressure is something crazy. And so I want you to imagine this situation where it is a race against time. The Raila Odinga camp is racing against time to achieve something. And then on the other hand, the government is racing against time to achieve a certain objective it has already set in motion. What? Yeah. When you have an inkling of what is happening in backrooms, what is happening in the background, then breaking news, current news, and the utterances of certain individuals begin to make perfect sense. Because you know what is on the chessboard, you know what is happening, you know where the pressure is, you know where the race against time is. And therefore, when somebody speaks in a certain way, you know exactly why they're speaking like that. And it all makes perfect sense to you. Now, I know you're very intelligent, and I know you've figured it out. And if you haven't, I know you have colleagues, friends, that can help you figure it out. But I've tried my very best to communicate this scenario. Hypothetical scenario. Or is it? Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.